Welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I got a question. I get a lot of FSBO questions. That's in the industry talk for sale by owner, because we don't want to say 5 syllables when we can only say 2. And the question was, do realtors avoid for sale by owner? So the simple answer is absolutely they do. Now, to explain how the system works, how the different ways you can list your house, and how a listing works, and how realtors get involved and how they get paid, I'm going to take you from the top. So in general, most properties are listed with a realtor for X commission. Typical in my area is 4 or 5%, and it's implied, usually it's explained, that half of that commission, so 2 or 2.5%, is going to be given to a buyer's agent, someone representing a buyer. So let's take a step back. So now we just talked about a listing agent, which is somebody who represents a seller. And then there are also buyer's agents. I would say in our area, 60 to 70% of the time, most buyers are represented by an agent. So what's a buyer's agent? A buyer's agent is an agent that somebody hires to look for houses for them. So they give them a simple agency agreement. You're going to represent me. Go look for houses. I'm looking for something in Baldwin that's less than $600,000 on the water, for example, and they're going to go look at it. And that agent is going to then go and try and find properties that meet this buyer's needs. And what the buyer's agent does, and this is important, is they usually tell the client, the buyer, hey, you don't pay me anything. The seller pays me. Because as I discussed before, in most listing agreements, the half of the commission is going to go to the buyer's agent. So the buyer looks at this, is this a risk-free transaction? I'm not going to pay this guy anything. And he's going to go do the legwork for me. I don't have to go searching Trulia and Zillow to try and find a property. This guy's going to do all the work for me. It's amazing. What a great, great situation. Now, let's go a step back as to how the choices you have to sell. In most areas, certainly our area, about 90% of the properties are going to be listed with an agent, as we just discussed with the listing agent on the multiple listing service, about 90%. 10% are going to be sold to investors or listed for sale by owner. Now, if I am a buyer's agent and I am looking to represent my buyer, and my buyer I have told already, which happens almost all the time, hey, you don't pay me, and I see a for sale by owner property that looks perfect for my guy, I'm probably not going to bring him there because I don't want to not get paid, and I don't want to explain to my client, hey, remember I told you you weren't going to pay me? Well, on this property, which is perfect for you and the prices are right, you do have to pay me. Let me give you a great example. Now, occasionally, when an agent lists a property for sale, they write that the buyer's agent's not getting paid. Now, I had a situation where I was buying a property from someone in Hicksville or Massapequa, I forgot. And he said to me, I want to sell it to you, but I need to find a place to go. This is where I want to go. I want to go to this part of Massapequa. I found a perfect house for him. Almost seemed strange. House was asking, they were asking a very reasonable price, perfect condition, perfect location. I couldn't believe the house was there. It was on the market for like 75 days. Crazy in today's market. I bring it in, the guy goes, I love it. I'll pay asking. Let's do it. Now, I didn't look at the listing to see how much I was going to get paid because I didn't really care if I was going to get paid as a buyer. I was making the money by buying the guy's house. What happened was that in the listing, they weren't paying buyer's agents anything, which is why a perfectly beautiful house had nobody coming to see it. Right? In fact, I spoke to the agent. He goes, yeah, we had very, very small turnout and no offers. It was almost unfathomable, right? In today's market, unfathomable. But because they weren't paying buyer's agents, that's what happened. So FSBO is like that. You can have a gem sitting somewhere and no one's going to see it because realtors that represent buyers are not going to bring their clients there because they don't want to explain to the they don't want to explain why, sorry, the note, why now the buyer actually has to pay them when they told them it wasn't. So there really are 3 ways, as we discussed. Most of the time it's listing with an agent. Sometimes it's for sale by owner. The other way is selling to an investor, so a cash buyer like me, or I also list houses, but I'll buy houses. Now, why would you ever, so the most money you're going to get all the time is listing the property for sale, right? The reasons why you might not want to list the property for sale, there's about 4 or 5. The first is that the condition is terrible and someone who you sell it to is not going to get a mortgage. The second is that you have a time issue. Either you have to close really quickly or you don't want to be on a buyer's timeline. So maybe you're building. I get people calling me all the time. I'm building a house down south, and the guy said it's going to be ready in 3 months, but it might be ready in a year, and I need to just have an open timeline. So can you go to contract with me so I know that I'm getting the money, and then close when I'm ready? So that's time, condition. The other is municipal issues, so open permits, open violations, things that can't be cleared or will be cleared difficultly, unpermitted additions. And what else? I think there's one more that I'm not remembering. Those are the general ideas. So in those situations, you might want to sell to an investor, right? You're going to take a little less money, but you're trading money straight up for the convenience and certainty that an investor is going to buy. So just talk about convenience for a second. When you sell a house to any person on a normal seller to buyer transaction, that buyer is going to have a mortgage contingency in their contract. Now, I was in the mortgage business for 17 years, and I can tell you a mortgage contingency is a get out of contract free card. So what's happened to me several times, and what I've seen happen many times to people I ended up buying the house, is that a buyer will jerk you around for 3 or 4 months and then say, sorry, I got denied. It's very easy to get denied. I can tell you I had probably 100 occasions in my many years in the mortgage business where somebody called me and said, I changed my mind, give me a denial. Documents expire all the time. You can just deny them because the document expired. So the certainty of working with an investor is that I don't have any contingencies in my contract. I have to close whenever you're ready. And basically, that's the certainty that we provide. Also, that our numbers are numbers, not going to change. So if you're selling a property to a regular buyer, they can bring in an inspector who could say, oh yeah, I know you offered $600,000, but we need a $30,000 adjustment because the guy found all these things. That happens all the time. It's happened to me too. Also, they bring in an appraiser. If they're getting certain types of loans, the appraiser might say you need to fix X, Y, and Z. So these are things that come up that you don't have when you're selling to an investor. And the other thing is convenience. You don't have to show the property 1,000 times. Very often when I buy property, you can leave all your things there so you don't have to clean it. So that's just convenience property. So that's why people sell to an investor. Now, that other option of for sale by owner, in my opinion, is a horrible option. Horrible. It was horrible before the internet, and it's horrible now after the internet. And let me explain why. In the old days, for sale by owner, you basically stuck a sign out or maybe put an ad in the paper, and nobody saw it, so it didn't matter. But that was the same way with all listings. Today, people think if I post it on Zillow, everyone's going to see it. Now, people think that maybe who do look for properties on Zillow. But here's the truth. I just told you that 60 to 70% of the people are using a buyer's agent to find the property. That buyer's agent is not bringing buyers to your FSBO property, to your for sale by owner property. That's number one. Number two, even if the guy is not represented by a buyer, he may not find your property. I know everybody thinks you will, but it won't. So what you're doing is you're taking this subset of people that might want your house and you're cutting it down to this. And that almost always results in you making less money. Almost always. Now, it's hard to tell, right? The bigger problem I find with FSBOs is that you don't know if you sold it for the most money, even if you got what you wanted. So I had somebody tell me I wanted to sell his house for 400. I go, 400? I go, you get 500 in a second. And they go, oh, I just accepted an offer for 405. I thought that was a good price. You don't even know what a good price is. Here's the truth. Even experienced agents like me, sometimes we don't know how high the market could go. I've listed properties and gotten $75,000 more. I couldn't believe it. We're in a super hot market, and you're foolish to do anything other than list the property if you want the most money. Now, if you fall into those other categories, you could sell it to an investor, right? And that's an agreed upon price, and you know you're taking less money for the certainty and convenience that a investor is going to bring. But FSBO to me is a knucklehead approach, just not smart. In the hottest market we've ever been in, to cut yourself short by not showing it to as many buyers as you can, to cut yourself short by picking a price out of your ass and thinking that if I get it, I'm happy. I can't tell you how foolish I think it is. And I've had people tell me, all I got to do is stick out a sign, I'll have 1,000 phone calls. Yeah, you may have 1,000 phone calls, but you could have 20,000 people that wanted that house that would have driven the price up $65,000 more than you, right? And the thinking is, well, I'm not going to pay a realtor. Foolish, just foolish thinking, because you will almost always sell it for more than the commission you're going to pay, assuming you're paying discounted commissions. And if you want to list with me, my commissions are the lowest, but let's not talk about that now. So the answer to the question is absolutely realtors avoid for sale by owner because they want to get paid and they don't want to explain to a buyer that the buyer has to pay them because they've already explained that the buyer never has to. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in finding out more about a course I have that teaches how to do what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you're interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any platform, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help me. Keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. I don't always know what to say. This was a new question that I didn't have before. If it's you can ask any question. It doesn't even have to be about the video you're watching. If it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I haven't covered in a while, I'll send you links to the videos. And if it's something new, I will do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it.